You said yesterday that you wish that we would all set aside those things that would prevent us from living in love and compassion. And other than the basic misidentification of my mind-body as myself, what I find over and over holds me back from living in love and compassion is that I don't find myself worthy of my own love and compassion. And short of having the full realization of who I am and what I am, I would ask for any assistance you could give me in finding, in letting go of that idea that I'm not worthy.
No, but that's such a blessing. That feeling of unworthiness is itself that which could most eloquently and heartfully call forth for compassion. The arrogant, worthy one wouldn't think of it. That one who feels so unworthy, in truth, can receive such an abundance of compassion to meet so lovingly that unworthiness. If a friend came to you and said, I feel so unworthy even to ask for compassion, you would say, who better deserves it here and now?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm not usually aware in the moment that I have judged myself unworthy. It's only later as I look back at the pain that I've been through.
So fair enough. So in that moment, in looking back, that is the perfect moment. That's the moment in which you can remember the possibility of compassion, unconditional. I'm not speaking about a compassion and love that somehow won or strived for, if only this and this. I'm speaking about a love and compassion that is present regardless of any circumstance, of any condition. To love your own self unconditionally, meaning no matter what.
And I know when I don't do that for myself, I also don't do that for my children or anyone else.
So what better to remind you than that habitual brute that unworthiness is? That story. That story is not subtle. It's not quiet. It makes itself known loudly and clearly and shows up like a very familiar suffering. I'm saying use that in behalf of love. Use that in behalf of compassion. It's not like you're given this story now to indulge and entertain so as to experience or relate to it in the old familiar way that just creates more and more needless suffering. Now that story is some magical grace to remind you.
Occasionally I'll have that awareness, or I'll speak to someone of it and be reminded. And then there are times when I can go on for a very long period of time not realizing that I'm bludgeoning myself with that and not be aware of it.
Some more vigilance, more fierce intentionality in behalf of freedom. more moments as the wakeful Buddha and less as the sleepy, slappy Buddha. Why? Because you so value compassion, you so value love. Far more than you do the entertainment of that needless suffering that's born out of the entertaining and indulging in the belief that that story of the personal unworthy one is really real and you. So you're motivated by love itself. You're motivated by compassion itself. It moves you to wakefulness, to remembering your intention, and to remembering the value you have in that which is most precious to you. Like you don't forget very often how much love you have for your children.
Occasionally.
Rarely. And then even. So like that.
Thank you.
And your children remind you of love itself. Unconditional. Your children remind you of what is most precious. They're not even separate from that unconditional love. So let's say there's this long period of time where there is a kind of lost in the story of personal unworthiness. So all this time has passed and that story being indulged in. And now there's the recognition, oh my God. Now is the moment. This is all lost and God, it's finished. Now, you can continue actually by berating yourself for all of this needless suffering and add on another 4 hours of needless suffering, or 10, or whatever. Or right here, you could say, enough is enough. Or you can say, now, awake again. Remembering again. So, he sees this moment in behalf of freedom. And let the choice be yours now. Now awake. Alert. Then see what it is you choose. It's possible to put something down, really just let it go completely.
Just let go of the idea of not being worthy of love and compassion.
Yes.
I think that comes down to the misidentification thing. I found myself with the idea, well, then what would be left?
Well, how about as an experiment just now? First, you see that it's just an idea, which is in fact such a blessing to be able to see that it's just an idea. Some notion, some belief. Actually, just a thought. I am not worthy of compassion. Just thoughts. Nothing more. And one can endow those thoughts with such immense power that we're left devastated. Or we could simply, in fact, sit on this throne of witness consciousness, if you will, just relaxed, at ease, open, and just simply see this thought arise. I am not worthy of compassion. Just God.
But, the thought doesn't come up in that way. It's more that you don't give yourself the love and compassion rather than have the thought that you're not worthy of it.
Say again?
I don't recall being aware of thinking I'm not worthy of love and compassion. It's later when it's pointed out to me,
but
you did not.
But it shows up in this story. This story is about this miserable you. See, we all know this story. It's so familiar. It's so much the stuff of the mind stream. The mind stream that we take so personally. It's so much the stuff of it. If we just stop to see. This is basically a story of personal unworthiness in one guise or another. It's epidemic. It's so ironic. The spiritual seekers are so in pursuit of unconditional love and perfect peace, and yet are habitually entertaining the belief in personal unworthiness. You think you would be wanting to entertain something else if it's love and peace that's your heart's desire. But anyway, this story is available to you and displays before you again and again. It may not be so crystal clear as you are not worthy of unconditional love or compassion. But it is revealed to you again and again. It can be related to in such an amazingly different way. Just see, sometime today, you'll have ample opportunity.
I'll do that.
And see the familiar story and see the familiar way of relating to it. The familiar way is holding on to it. Actually, we're in pursuit of it. I'll get down. Next paragraph, next page. And then remember that it's possible just to be so utterly detached from this story, as detached as one is from the biting flies zooming by. We don't take one of those flies personally. Not one. Not for a moment. But we take all those thoughts personally. They're mine and about me. And they're true. So see today the possibility of not taking it so personally or so true. Just those old familiar thoughts arising, displaying. It's important, this freedom from that needless suffering that is the response to the story of one's personal unworthiness. To be free of that, just even for a moment, is really quite remarkable. So merciful. So you're on retreat. This is for that. So then this evening, then you report back. Yeah.
Yep. It's possible I could go several hours without finding myself unworthy, but I will.
Would that be a personal record?
No.
And you're not alone in this belief, like that, not for a moment. Somehow, magically, I don't know, that story that we've heard a million times somehow remains compelling. So compelling. We're so easily fooled into giving over our life's blood of attention to it.
And the times when I've experienced love for myself, when I've let go of that story, have been so overwhelmingly wonderful and blissful that it's remarkable that I would forget about that and listen to the story again.
Yeah.
Do you have, since it is such a widespread disease or delusion, do you have any thoughts on how one might approach one's children to not infect them as much as one was infected?
First, your absolute unconditional love and compassion towards them, towards your partner. That family is a family of unconditional love and compassion. Forgiveness. You are a living example. Daddy is a living example of love and compassion.
So I see that will follow my being able to love myself more fully.
It shows up in your warmth, in your affection. Shows up in the tone of voice, in a touch. Look, all day with your kids, that's being transmitted out to them. Children love to see their parents happy. They love it. When parents are being affectionate and laughing, warm, communicating in gentle voice, and kids love that. About finally the quality of attention. Attention, how you attend, the quality of attending to. And there's no greater qualities for children or anybody else than love and compassion. Good cheer goes a long way too in this sad world. Just remembering the possibility of good humor, good cheer goes a very long way. How old are your kids?
4, 6, and 7. They're wonderful.
Yeah. What are their names?
Katie, Chris, and Ian. It is nice to be in a quiet place for a week, though.
I bet. So the real quiet place is within. It's within. So really allow that quiet within by simply letting what arises just be and go. And you're just this week not paying attention so much, a little bit today, to the content of the mind stream, but after that little bit, then not to pay so much attention to what is being thought